Basically, in a nutshell, the art director directs the art of a project. They unify the artistic vision of a project. In particular, the art director is in charge of the overall visual appearance and how it communicates visually to an audience. One of the most difficult problems that an art director faces is translating many desired moods, messages, concepts and underdeveloped ideas into imagery. You are going to be getting a lot of input from many different directions here. During the brainstorming process, for example, co-workers and clients and art directors are all engaged in imagining what the finished piece might look like. So at times, an art director really is ultimately responsible for solidifying the vision of the collective imagination, whether that be the client's imagination, your imagination, the agency's imagination, and of course your creative director's imagination. Then, whilst resolving conflicting agendas and inconsistencies between those various individual inputs, you are going to get conflicting ideas between your client and, say, your creative director. So it is really down to you to resolve those inconsistencies and conflicts. So, more simply put, an art director is taking various visual input from multiple directions, then solidifying that vision. More specifically, in post-production or a motion graphics studio, the art director plays a more pivotal role than, say, in advertising. A good art director really has extensive knowledge of software and its limitations and can drive a machine if necessary. If an artist on a team isn't grasping what the client is looking for, then the art director can jump on a machine and execute that idea. So knowing your software here is very important for this, obviously. On Avatar, for example, I'll give you a quick simple breakdown of the workflow. I would design the HUD screens in Photoshop and Illustrator based on notes given by James Cameron. Because there were so many screens in this job, the design process really continued for a few months, alongside the animation of those screens also. So upon approval of the screens by the client, the team would then take those HUD PSDs, my animation team would then take those HUDs in PSD format, break them apart in After Effects and basically bring them to life based on animation guidelines already established by myself, again based on notes given by the director James Cameron. Jim had some very specific requests for these screens. The screens were not to be distracting in any way. Still look cool, obviously, but no flashing orange buttons, for example, in the background of a shot, quite simply. No crazy animation. So it was our job to make sure that those notes were always executed to the letter. This idea is a nice segue into the next section here, which really, I think, one of the key components of successful art direction is communication. Clear communication. Knowing how to communicate your ideas effectively to your artists is key. If you cannot give clear direction, your artist will sometimes rogue off on a tangent and give you things you don't want. Sometimes this way you can get happy accidents, but more than less, you'll get something you can't use. Even art directing yourself, you need to be constantly mindful that you are sticking to the brief and what is required of you. So taking that idea one step further in communication and communicating that brief to a team and keeping that team all working towards the same goal, and you are pretty much art directing. So even with clear direction, some artists will do what they want to do. These guys might need a little bit more direction from you. Try not to get frustrated. I know it's easier said than done. This doesn't help anybody, and it can create tension and an unhealthy working environment. Usually, if the situation is given some perspective, ideas generally flow better and solutions become more apparent. Again, not getting what you want can be frustrating, but try and be nice about it. Don't be a dickhead. No one likes a dickhead at work. It's not going to get you anywhere. So self-management is important, and the management of other people, your team, is very important also. So these are just some of the pitfalls that you can come across. I'm hoping I'm giving you a bit of an insight that will allow you to anticipate some of these issues in the future. So let's move forwards. I think you've got an idea of what an art director does now. So let's talk about our brief.